I got my buddy Stan Zinkosky here, and I don't even have to introduce Stan. Everybody knows Stan.
How y'all doing?
As you know, Stan, he put my trolley system in, and we're getting very close to being able to use the tilt furnace. And I've kind of had a lot of questions in the back of my mind, but Stan has helped me put a lot of that at ease tonight.
Well, we did a little load test. We had a scale. I brought Clark a scale. Let him use this. I think it's called an Optima. It's called an Optima scale. That's been a good little scale. I keep it in my shop, but I dropped it off on my way out to Alabama. And
he wouldn't let me keep it.
Now I'm on my way back from Alabama, and I decided to swing by and pick it up. Whatever scale Clark uses is probably going to get really, really hot because it's going to be hanging right above that over there.
Yeah,
but it's on all the time.
But it's going to be a good 8 feet above the exhaust, so and the exhaust is blowing this way.
Well, even a mechanical scale is going to get affected by the heat. It's just. But a dynamometer or some type up there, or some kind of load sensing device.
I need, and the reason for that, guys, is we want to make sure we never overrate the furnace capacity. Right now it's at 400 pounds, and I want to make sure I don't go over that.
Well, it'd be nice to have a scale on there all the time, so when you start feeding the furnace, you know, hey, I got,
I got 50 pounds left, or 100 pounds left.
You float the empty furnace, tear it out for the tear weight, so that'll zero you out, and anything you add beyond that is going to add up as weight, and that way you know, okay, I got 20 pounds iron in there, 30 pounds, 40, 50, 60, and you've already calculated how much you need. You know? So it'd be nice to have that scale there all the time. I think it'd be useful for you. Well,
I got to come up with something because we want to prolong the life of the building.
We did a load test today. We loaded up his furnace that he's already got partially built. Then we stacked a bunch of brake drums on it, weighed it, and then I literally got on top of it, and I'm 280 pounds on a good day. And I wanted to see the load moment in the building, which a lot of you engineers are going to know what load moment is. But I got up on top of it, added my 280 pounds to it, and then I proceeded to jump up and down to add moment to the whole system. And I could see the building deflecting and no breakage, but steel is very forgiving. All the way, it's very elastic all the way up to the point where it becomes plastic.
Yeah.
And then that's an utter failure. So.
But I don't think we were anywhere close to that.
No, I saw some good movement and of the building, and I was jumping up and down pretty hard. So you were getting some good load moment out of that. Yeah. And I know you're going to be gentle when you use it. You're going to be nowhere near that kind of load moment.
No, and we did this on the outside area where there's no supports 12 feet by 12 feet. It's 12 feet by 36. So we have no...
I wanted to test it at worst case scenario.
Yeah, and that's what we did. So if it'll hold up to that out here, then I feel more than confident that we're going to be a lot more solid on the inside there.
When they built that wall, Keith tied in that wall to them trusses?
I got to look into that.
Oh, okay.
But even if he didn't, it's not going to be a problem for me to go ahead and put a post against the wall and put it down through the ground to block that in. And it probably wouldn't hurt for me to do that anyway.
All right.
But anyway, guys, I just wanted to kind of update you on where we're at so far.
Well, what I want to update you on is I'm on my way home to California from Alabama, and the next thing you see on one of my videos, we're going to be talking about the Bar Z Summer Bash. And that's coming up in June. Yep. June 27th, 28th. You can go ahead and post this on your channel early, Clark.
All right.
Mark your calendar and come out if you can. This will be the last summer bash in Southern California. And so it's the end of an era. It's our 10th summer bash. So this bash is marked Bash X.
Last year I rode with Keith, and I drove all the way out there, which was fun. I don't regret it a second.
I love it. I'm a sucker for a good road trip.
But we just don't have enough time now, especially right now, to just take off and do excursions like that. I wish I could, because I'd love to bring my dogs.
You leave the one.
Yeah.
That's a good dog right there.
I wanted to catch you up. We have since made a few changes to the furnace, which changed the weight of it, not by much. And on the next video, you see, we will actually be using a brand new scale that was sent to me. We're going to put it to the test, and I'll show you more about that in the next video. We're going to put that on the furnace, weigh it, and I'll explain, what I said earlier about the max capacity of the furnace is 400. What I meant was the max capacity of iron we can put in the furnace is 400. So I don't want to exceed 2,000 pounds total weight with the iron that's in the furnace along with the furnace itself. Last time we checked the weight of the furnace, we were pushing around, I believe, 890 pounds or 850. That's empty. I had to add a few more things since then. I still haven't decided if I'm going to keep this scale on the furnace all the time or if I'm going to keep it on standby just to weigh the iron before I put it in. We'll figure that out as we go. I don't want to wear this scale out. I just got back from Georgia. I attended the first Ironfest South down at the Georgia Museum of Agriculture with Keith Rucker. My good friend Jim Bollinger, he was there. He gave a very good instructional on TIG welding, and he pointed out a lot of things I didn't know that's going to have me taking a look at my equipment better, including my helmet. My Harbor Freight helmet is apparently no good. The more I listened, the more I was picking up on, and it was very educational. The next day, I had a demonstration that went completely south, which, it's no big. I told everybody, I said, this is my daily life. Full of problems and headaches, and would you believe, a tiny little dirt dauber wrecked my entire event. I had a dirt dauber nest built up in one of the ports in the furnace, so it wasn't burning right. And it wasn't getting up to the proper temp, and it took forever, almost a whole bottle of gas, just to make one melt. And it wasn't, we weren't even, it was bad. We didn't pour any successful castings. My sand was not doing right. We were out in the breeze. Of course, anytime you're outside trying to do molding, it's a disaster. But they got to see me sweat and swear and everything else. Overall, we had a good time. I got to meet some awesome people. Keith and his wife, they're going to be over this Saturday, and I'm going to prep everything and get some of his straight edges rammed up. I'm going to show him how this furnace works Saturday. Hopefully we have better results than we did at the Ironfest. But I don't have any ports on this small enough for a dirt dauber to fully clog up, so we ought to be in good shape. In the last video, I was telling you we were going to put a bigger blower on. We did that. And we had a bunch of iron left in the bottom of the furnace. So I went ahead and refired it the next day without cleaning the bottom out and replacing it. And it got hot enough to go ahead and melt all that mess out of there. I just poured it off. I'm not going to use that for castings, but I just wanted to make sure we were where we need to be. Now, I've got to do a little more work on this neck. I shoved sand up in there after we shut it down just to help keep the refractory from cooling off too fast. I don't want any thermal shock if I can avoid it, because we already have enough cracks in this thing. On these 6 molds here, I am going to trash them before I even try to pour them, because let me take you to the original patterns, which I need to get those back to the customer. But these are the castings that we were supposed to have done by April the 1st, and because of all the work on the furnace, we weren't able to get this thing to pour good iron. I was hoping to have these knocked out by last week, and we didn't make it. So a friend of mine reached out to me, Mr. Nate McLean out of Texas. He told me that if I would like, he could take this job over and go ahead and get them taken care of while I fine-tune my furnace and get it back to running. Nate, he owns KN Manufacturing Incorporated in Lufkin, Texas, and he also acquisitioned Pump Works Castings there in Lufkin, and so he's got, if I'm right, he owns 2 different foundries, one in Texas, another one in Oklahoma. But he's a great guy. I've talked to him on many accounts here lately, especially right up to this point. He and Harry Merritt, another friend of mine, they have a podcast they do. And anyway, he was asking me if I could find time to do that. And at the time, I had to decline because I just couldn't find any room. And I said, you know what, if you take this job, I'm going to go ahead. You sign me up for the first schedule you want, and I'll be on it. And don't get me wrong, I am not a podcast type individual. I get very nervous because I'm not the one in control of editing. I don't know if this is live or pre-recorded. Either way, I'm not editing it, so I hope I don't say anything dim-witted. I do it often. Anyway, I want to thank Nate very much for all his help in getting the heat off of me, because this furnace, I do want to be pouring everything with it. I have spent a lot of hard work and time and sweat in it, and Nate understands that all too well. Instead of wasting any more time trying to pour these, there's no sense in it. I'm going to dump them, and we're going to start ramming up Keith's straight edges, because I have put Keith off long enough. Every time somebody sends something in the door, I try to get it turned around as fast as possible and think, okay, this won't take long, and then I'll be able to get on Keith's stuff. And then it keeps getting pushed back and pushed back. And he's not the only one. I've had other customers I've had to do like that. I don't mean to. I really don't. I try to treat every single customer just as important as the other one. And Keith's been more than patient with me, so we need to get this done. And at the same time, once we get this thing pouring the way it's supposed to be, I got to finish Cloud 42 stuff up. I started running the issues with the furnace about that time, and I got a few out. Unfortunately, I couldn't fulfill that whole order, and by now they may have decided to heck with it. I don't know. We also have a lot of things coming up of our own that I wanted to cast, and I wanted to get it out before the 4th of July, and I'm not showing you until I have at least a couple hundred of those available. But for me to be able to get the prices down on that stuff, I needed this thing working the way I want it. My idea is, and I'm not doing it yet, but once we have this thing up and running consistently, and we're making molds Monday through Thursday, we're going to be pouring every Friday evening around 6:30 when it's starting to cool down. And this will be open to the public. Anybody that wants to come on any Friday evening at 6:30, you're more than welcome to come out and hang out with us as we pour whatever we got lined up. That's about it on this short video. Be prepared for the next one, where I have a scale from a certain company that has sent me a nice digital scale, and we're going to weigh out the furnace. We're going to put it to total use without the sand bed. Then we're going to weigh it with the sand bed, and I'm going to see if we can get I got to contact the company and see if it's okay to just keep this thing plugged in constantly, where I don't have to even worry about batteries, because what I want to do is I want to put it up here on the actual trolley, and then put my my chain file on the crane itself. Now on the instructions, I read that I don't want to load on it for long periods of time, because it could give me a bad reading later down the road. How much of an error, I don't know. If you're talking only a 5-10 pound difference from what zero is, I'm not worried about that. But I need it to be close to plus or minus 50 pounds, regardless. So when it says load, I'm thinking if I just have the chain file dangling from it all the time, it shouldn't hurt a thing, as long as I don't have the furnace hanging from it the whole time. And using it for general use, where I'm not even really worried about weighing anything, I don't think it should hurt it, but I need to contact the company and make sure that it's not specifically for weighing only, because I don't want to damage it. But anyway, yeah. But otherwise, I want to keep it hooked up to the chain fall, above the chain fall at all time, because I don't want to have to be, well, if I have it under the chain fall, I'll be beating it and scratching it all to pieces with my chain. Not to mention, I want it up as high, as I said earlier, away from the heat as I can get it. And we're probably going to still I'm still going to make a heat shield right over the anchor point, just to kind of keep any possible heat from beating up on there, because when I'm tilting this thing, like I said earlier, the exhaust is blowing back, but when I get ready to tilt it, the exhaust starts coming up, and I'm not going to have this thing straight up at 90 degrees, but you know, it's still going to heat the air above it. So I don't want to get the scale any hotter than I have to. On the last video where we're pouring, this is the result. They didn't do well at all. I didn't even bother cleaning them up. If I were to wire wheel these, what cast would look beautiful. So if you're saying what's wrong with your finish, there's nothing wrong with the finish. You're looking at burnt sand on the outside that comes off easily with a wire wheel. So until next time, I will see you guys later. I got to get back to cutting grass now. This is the end of April, and I'm finally cutting my grass. I should have been cutting it 2 months ago, but it's kind of like the hair on my head. It only grows in spots. So but now I need to even everything out before they cut hay, because it looks like a crew cut up here on the hill when they cut hay and I let my grass go. Out here in the country, it doesn't matter. You know, I tell the UPS driver all the time, don't worry about getting off the road if you have to turn that rig around out here. I'm not shooting for yard of the month. It's not like we have a HOA or anything like that. Oh man, I'd be in so much trouble if we did. Anyway, I hope y'all had a good day, and we will talk to you later. For those who have been asking about the Windy Hill Foundry hats, these are now available on my website, windyhillfoundry.com, under stores, or you can click on the above link. These are on the pricey side, but keep in mind the shipping is included. Have a good day.